Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, AutotopiaLA. You know, if you watched the channel a couple weeks back, we showed you a really kick-ass 73 square body. In the video, he's talking about this friend of mine, this neighbor of mine, built a chassis in, what was it, 12 days for that truck, and that truck's a really badass truck. So this is the guy that built the chassis. This is Glen. Before we get into what the truck is, I think it's important that what we've been talking about for the last few minutes here, you know, about you started fabricating and you were fabricating whatever needed to be done. You're a figure it out guy and you started building your own chassis and full vehicle builds, crazy fabrication stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of started back in the 90s when I started building my first race car.
Yeah.
I bought a couple books, read the books on how to build stock cars, and then it just kind of snowballed after that, you know, racing for years, dirt cars, asphalt cars, off-road. And I built all that because obviously it saves you money. Yeah. You know, you just pick up a lot of stuff as you're building, you know, race cars over the years and what works, what doesn't. And then to apply it to like a street car, it's even easier because, you know, it's straight up, it's symmetrical, it's even. Where not like you're trying to build something to go left real fast or slide into the left, you know, turning right, making it work. So
yeah, it's not just to drive down the road and look cool. Like I know you track this thing, you pound on it. A lot of garage builds, it's still maybe stock platforms underneath. There's been some suspension work, this and that done, but this is your full chassis under this, right?
Scott's was a 4-link. This one's a 5-link. Mainly because when I built this truck, I literally went out to my Connex and just started digging out old stock car parts. You know, shit I had on the shelves left over, and I'm just started gathering up and just started building a car.
I've never heard 5-link before.
The rear end floats in a bearing bird cage. It's a 4-link, hooks to the chassis, but it floats. Now you need the 5th link at the top, you know, to keep your traction.
Got it. Okay.
So this thing...
Is that a racing thing?
Yeah, usually you run it on asphalt, you run it on dirt, you know, it's to control rear steer, control traction. When I first built it, the upper link had a bushing in it, so it was really hard to like break the tires loose in this thing because it grips and it goes. So I was like, everybody's like, do a burnout. And it doesn't really want to, man. It just fucking grabs and goes.
Yeah.
So I pulled that one out and I put a solid link in, and then it's a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, this thing bites.
Let's pop the hood and let's look under here what you got going.
I gotta grab the stick. It's a 383 stroker. Bill Shoemaker, formerly of Speedo Motive, built it for me. Alex from AFR dialed in some good heads for it because we were trying to lighten it up. So I've been throwing everything aluminum I can at it. When Bill built it, it was 565. When I put the EFI on it, obviously that killed a bunch of horsepower. You know, we added the heads trying to build it back up. So probably about around 535, 540.
Got it. Fun power though, right?
Oh yeah, it's plenty fun.
Yeah.
Especially with traction, you know, you're not just sliding around.
Do you have traction control programmed on it, or you just get that kind of traction from the suspension?
Just from the suspension.
Yeah, got it. Because I know that's the kind of power where, I mean, a lot of people don't think it's much power, but it really, if you don't have traction, that's just mount the throttle, spin tires.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? Fun, I'm not knocking that, but like if you want to get going, I mean, what does the engine go to transmission? What do you run?
It is a Stage 3 700R from Bowtie. They built me that one in a hurry.
Yeah.
To film some other stuff, this versus that with the Hoonigans. And that's where the EFI and the Nitrous, everything else came in.
Because you do have this thing set up for Nitrous if you want to use it.
I do.
And then how much does that add to it?
Well, I got the 150 pills in it.
The 150 pills.
Yeah. So, and then I had it delayed a lot the couple times I've used it. Runs great.
Yeah.
I love it.
What do you go to on the rear end on this thing? Like, is it a 4 9-inch or something like that?
Oh, no, it's a winner's quick change. Anything race car I could use, it's on there.
Got it.
Especially, you know, pulling parts off my shelf.
It's really funny, you were talking about how it has no AC and you live out in the desert. Do you drive it when it's hot out?
Yes.
Oh, you're psychotic, bro.
Especially out to the river a couple times.
Oh, God, when it's hot out there, are you kidding me?
Just change your shirt when you get there.
Oh, dude, not me, man.
It's too hot for hot dogs.
Some other questions on as far as like brakes, headers, exhaust. Why don't you run through all the mechanical stuff?
I'm using stock car Camaro setback headers for street stock because I had those sitting on my shelf. Bought a kit from Summit, put the exhaust together. Speedway motor, upper control arms. You know, highly adjustable. I built the lowers. These are Camaro spindles, wheel with brakes. I'm using the Howe center link and a Howe Pitman arm, and I'm running a 10-to-1 Howe steering box. The steering is like really quick and awesome in this. It's not like the old school, you know, you gotta find
Right.
You know, trying to drive around town.
You're locked to lock like that, aren't you?
You're locked to lock. And then using AFCO double pass radiator. It came out of the dirt car. And since I've added the MSD, it used to be HEI. Then I added the MSD box when I put the Holly Sniper on and put the Nitrous on. It does have an AC pump on it. It just came with the kit, you know, the Serpentine kit.
And you're just not gonna waste it.
Nah, I don't need that extra power. Big tranny cooler up front. I built the truck to get going, to have some fun.
We forgot to talk about this part, is that you built this really fast.
9 weeks.
So what year C10 is it?
Well, it has 81, 73, and 82 parts. And the bed that was on it when I got the cab is on Scott's truck.
So it's a 70s, 80s C10.
Yeah, a couple different years.
But you built it all in 9 weeks.
Yeah.
From a bone stock truck.
Well, no, from a piece of rectangle tubing. Up on the table, started cutting, building the chassis, ripped the donor truck I bought apart, got rid of the bed, gave that to Scott, put all the pieces. I love this front end.
Got it.
Because my first truck was at 81. I just love the front end, the 81s.
Yeah.
I don't like the one-piece hood, I like the two-piece. This grille, to me, I love it.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I think it's bitchin'. I think it's super cool.
It looks like a race truck, you know, when it's down. If you look at those old pictures of old race trucks, you know, they used to race, I think they raced at Riverside.
Yeah.
You know, they used to race at Cajon Speedway, places like that. All stock body.
Yeah. I love your firewall, just how simple, clean.
Yeah, the firewall, originally on this one, you know, they put a bunch of bed liner shit on the firewall. I was like, oh, that's horrible. So I was grinding all that crap off and stuff and put an aluminum one in there like I do in my race cars.
The more I'm looking around here and as you're talking me through it, it's total race car stuff. I mean, I get that you can street drive it, but it's like I get your function of what you built here, dude. God dang, your chassis I'm sure it's as functional as hell, but it really looks great too.
This was the second one. Scott's was the first. And since then, I've built like 9 of them, making them better and better and better as I go.
Yeah, I'm guessing being a race guy, your manual brakes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it has the Willwood brake bias inside, you know, to adjust front and rear.
Oh, nice.
I got it pretty dialed right where it is. I mean, stops the truck without the rear end sliding all over the place.
Yeah. What is the total weight of this truck?
Just a tad under 3,200 pounds.
So wheel tire setup, what's your sizes and stuff?
8-inch, 15-inch aero wheels on the front, 10-inch in the rear.
They're 15?
They're 15s. Straight stock car. You know, you order them at a Speedway, you know.
So you had a normal C10 bed on here that now Scott's got it on his truck.
Or Brian.
Brian, I'm sorry, yeah. Did you know you were gonna do this already? Was this your kind of vision when you were like, yeah, I don't need the bed, I'm gonna do this anyway?
Yeah. My dad, he had Chevy trucks, he had C10s, and they were all flatbeds. And then, like I said, I wanted to build a shop truck. Well, when I'm going to pick up steel, I need a rack. And
Did you actually use this as a shop truck?
Oh yeah, I was banned from Patton Steel driving through their pickup building. Yeah, they're like, don't bring that through here again. Too loud, and then its floor is a little oily, so it likes to spin the tires a little bit. So yeah, they're like, no, don't bring that in here no more.
I can see you drifting through a steel yard.
Yeah, and there for a while, I used it a lot. I'd deliver stuff I'd make to customers just for fun.
Does this add or remove weight versus the bed itself?
It took a lot of weight off, especially because that's that Trex, fake wood composite.
Do you know what your weight split is on this?
Oh yeah, I'm 57% front.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You're really light back there.
Yeah, so if you watch some of the videos from autocrossing, getting on the brakes, this thing's wanting to come around a lot.
No, I know, and you're totally comfortable sideways, so there's no freak out that happens,
I've worked for Petty, I've worked for the driving school, I've worked for Joe Gibbs, worked for a lot of NASCAR teams. I was a rear tire changer, and then a driving instructor there in Vegas at Richard Petty. When you get with those things loose about around 180, doing the ride-alongs.
Wow, I can't imagine, man.
Yeah. I've been sideways in a lot of shit.
I get it, man. I get it. This is for your fuel cell?
Yeah. That was like kind of the quickest way option to get it to fuel up instead of sticking one back here.
Yeah, dude.
Until you put a pallet over it and you're like, fuck, how do I gas back up?
No, make sure you're filled up, right?
Yeah, I did that once.
God, I mean, it couldn't be more unique, let's be honest. It couldn't be...
It's different, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a C10 that's so race, but then also so completely utility.
The box, obviously, there for specialty tools on this thing, because it's not like you could just use regular tools. You know, you gotta have certain tools for the rear end. I keep the spare gears in there, oil and stuff for when I do swap the gears.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that. So if you were going to drive from here out to Fontana today, right, to go race this weekend, what set of gears is on street, and then what do you change to when you get out there?
Winters makes Healy cut gears, so I use the smallest one they got, which is 319, and they're quiet. The straight cuts, they're loud.
Yeah.
And when I get out to the track, depending on the size of it, it'll be like 1-to-1, which has a 412 ring gear, and then I have a set of 386s if it's a bigger track.
Yeah, so you can still get up.
And then you can swap them around and get into some really deep gears, but you know, maybe if you're just gonna circle track it.
All right, let's go check out your interior, dude. I've been not looking at your interior yet. I expected just total race truck.
For the most part.
I mean, it's all about business, but it's actually pretty finished up and nice. Are your panels still original panels or no?
No,
replacements?
they're just replacements.
But like full stock replacement, right?
Yeah, stock replacement.
Yeah.
The seats, comfortable recliner seats for a RZR. So they're lightweight, they were low. It does have a easy-go golf cart steering column, but it's I did it. It gets real short, because if you were looking under the hood, you know, you had to get that steering shaft turned real fast to get to the inside, because the steering box on the inside.
So
of
it's
the frame
from a
rail.
golf cart?
The steering column is.
Never heard that one before. Not to say it hasn't been done. I'm just saying I hadn't heard that.
But
one
it's
before.
tilt, turn signal, hazards.
Autometer gauges.
Yeah, quick disconnect steering.
Yep.
You know, and the nitrous buttons.
Yep. So your console, a little bit reminiscent of what I saw in the truck that Scott had built. The kind of.
I did mine first.
I believe you. I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just saying it reminds me of off-road stuff versus what I would see in your traditional style C10.
That shifter is from Winters. They make those Sidewinder shifters. You know, I didn't get the straight gate, you know, obviously, because I didn't want to screw up autocrossing and throw it in the wrong gear. So I got that one. You know, I wanted a gauge for everything the truck does. You know, you got your brake pressure,
you can sit down
vacuum.
Here. I want to see what you're talking about.
You know, I got the Joe's switches that you would see in the stock cars. Wheelwood brake bias. You gotta have a stereo. And then I got the nitrous controls on the side.
Where's the bottle get hidden?
It's in the water cooler.
You gotta love that. Seriously?
Yeah.
That is really great.
Yeah, I needed somewhere to stick it that was inconspicuous and kind of looked like a work
Bro,
truck.
that's seriously hidden away there.
And then, you know, I got the Joe's stock car pedal, you know, so you can get your toe in there and lift it back up. Wheelwood brakes, no AC, lights work, windshield wipers work.
And you built all this yourself, I assume?
Yeah, I had to hide all the wiring somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like it's fairly serviceable though. It looks like it's pretty easy to
pull
access.
each panel off.
Yeah, you really closed off all your AC. You were like, yeah, not gonna have it, done.
Nope. And I gotta have a stereo.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yep. Is that all this is stereo? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Air fuel, right?
Yeah, I got that one plus the Holly one there on the Sniper.
Oh, now I see it down here. I wasn't seeing it before. Yeah.
I like my old school race gauges.
I could tell. Yeah. It's so funny. You know how things go, and it seems almost like trends, and I don't know if it's partially just me. You see stuff enough times, and then you see old school gauges, and you go, oh, feels so good. It's so refreshing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you pop the hood. You know, I'll bet most people see this. They're probably expecting that there's an LS under there, right? But you say it's a 383 stroker making it north of 500 horsepower. That's bitching.
Bill Shoemaker, he built, you know, tons of my stock car motors. So I was like, hey, I want one for the street. Okay.
Yeah.
When I meant a 5-link, so obviously you got your 4 links here that connect to the bird cages, but those aren't bearings, they float. So without that top bar, the rear end would just spin around, break the drive line.
Got it.
And then as my panhard bar, I use a J bar off of what we'd use on dirt cars. You know, it's adjustable. You could run it up and down.
Yeah.
Just like you do with the track. So with the solid top link, you know, it's a little easier to break the tires loose. But when I put the rubber biscuit one in there, it ain't happening.
It won't break loose. You stand on it and
you stand on it and it just wants to go.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Yeah. And then depending on what gears you got in it, you know, you get a little wheel spin, but
right, like if you're geared down in those 412s or something.
Yeah. You'll get a little bit of wheel spin, but other than that, that thing likes to hook when that biscuit bar's in there.
This is so cool to get to actually physically see what, you know what I mean? Usually all this stuff's hidden underneath bodywork and
Right.
we don't get to see it,
No.
you know? Part of the intent of this, I'll bet. Huh?
Well, a friend of mine, Brett Oaks, he's like, why don't you put bed sides on it so it looked like a regular bed? And I was like, nah, I want to see everything
No
underneath
way.
it.
I like how the battery's just out front, kind of floating here.
Yeah, it's on clamps and that's adjustable too. It'll go up and down. But, you know, I didn't want to put it up front. I wanted to try to get some of the weight to the rear. And obviously, you know, I got the exhaust you don't like because it dumps down right in front of the axles.
You've heard me say that.
I did. I was like, he's going to like my exhaust.
This
They
thing's
are.
a dust blower,
And
isn't
loud.
it?
Like, it echoes so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you picked up on that. Now I feel like an asshole.
Oh, yeah, I pay attention.
This, who gives a shit? You're
All our, you know, like all our dirt cars, we always dumped them.
because you don't want to deal with going
Asphalt cars, you know, sometimes they want them to exit out the passenger side or stuff like
Right.
that, or have crossovers.
over. Right.
Stock car it was,
Yep.
but it does X underneath,
Yeah.
right above the tail shaft housing.
Got it.
Crosses over.
Cool. I'm glad you explained this to me, dude. The drive part now. The little bit I'm driving it, I'm already really digging this. Uh-oh. Railroad track, Chris. Shit, they're good. Is he gonna make it?
Barely.
Everything.
You got your bulbs, vacuum, fuel air, tranny gauge. Over there, you got oil pressure, fuel pressure, water temperature. The speedometer, I use the GPS one. Because with a quick change rear end, you're always changing the gears.
No kidding, dude.
You always get accurate speed.
So with quick change rear end, I know to you it might sound like a dumb question, but legit question for me. I get the concept that you're changing gears. Is it you pull the rear end out, change the gears, put the rear end back in? It's not like different rear ends that go in, right?
No, it's just a cover. Pull the cover off and you grab these two little gears. Pull them out, slap in two other little gears.
Got it.
Or you can swap them around to make different ones. And then you put the cover right back on it, add maybe a little bit of oil if a lot came out.
So you just have to pull the cover off.
You just pull the cover off the back of it.
You're not pulling the rear end.
Right.
Yeah,
So
got it.
The drive line goes to a shaft inside that has a gear here. Your pinion's backwards. So there's another gear that will go on the pinion that hooks to the ring gear. And then that's how you play with the gear ratio. So if you put 1-to-1 gears in it, well, that's what your 412. Just like what we got in right now.
That's what's in.
I got
it now.
1-to-1 gears in there.
So if you were on the freeway going 80 right now, you'd be revving pretty hot then.
Oh yeah, and it'd be howling because
Yeah.
these are the straight cut gears.
Got it.
That's why you hear that
That's
whining
why
back there.
I hear the whine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you just slap the 319 Healy cut gears in there. I'm doing like 80 at 2100 RPMs.
Wow, dude. Wow. This is really cool, man. I love how simple but just clean. Like, it's a race car, but it's definitely refined. You know what I mean? Like, there's things I in a race car you wouldn't do because you don't need it to look good.
Right.
Like, you still wanted this to look good, obviously.
Right. I just didn't need that crappy ass AC.
I still can't imagine driving this in Palm Springs.
In the winter's perfect. The exhaust is wrapped, but it'll act like a heater.
Still heats it up pretty
Oh,
good
yeah.
in here, yeah. Oh yeah, that whine sounds bitchin', dude.
Right.
It's funny, man. I know a lot of people don't dig manual brakes. I like them. Especially for racing, I gotta imagine, like you were talking about trail braking it, right? Where,
If you want to loosen it up a little bit, kind of like they do a lot in drifting, clutch
Yeah.
it or drag the brake a little bit.
yeah. It's not a reverse valve body. This is
regular.
I mean, not a manual.
Yeah, it's manual with that body. I mean, you can go down through the
So
gears
that's
and
why
stays.
when I put my foot down, it doesn't downshift. You have to manually everything.
Right.
More race car stuff. obviously you can see how mellow I'm being on your truck, but you know, going through a little bit of a sweeping turn, carrying some speed, it's just sitting like this on the road. Crazy actually that there's not really any movement, but
well, I mean, right now I got the QA1 coilovers. They're adjustable, so right now they're still set as if I from Texas when I was on the autocross in Texas.
But I mean, as planted as it is, it doesn't feel ridiculously stiff. It's stiff, but I've been in a lot worse. You know what I mean? This is super drivable.
Right.
Like I can see how you can sit in this and drive it all the way to Texas, but I get it.
It gets loud and annoying after a little while.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
You'll start to get a headache.
Got the smiles going. Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's like, oh man, like, but it does, it grabs.
Yeah.
Grabs a lot.
That is just a cool, built to drive truck, and that's my favorite kind of vehicle, man, is the stuff that's built to drive. With all of his race background that comes into play, from the chassis to the suspension, everything about this thing, you can just tell it's built to drive, and plus the whole utility element of having the flatbed racks. Just cool, man. I really enjoyed this one. I hope you guys had fun with this episode, and always thanks for hanging and watching what we do, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. All right, man. Later.